Welcome to IN Talks. This time we have a really nice thing for you set up. We're going to do a demo on SOCIETY2's Secrets app. There's been a lot of talk in the various channels, but today we're going to see how it works. And we're not just going to focus on the technology as much as it is very important. We're also going to talk about why. It's still in active development, and understanding why everybody's doing this, even when the technology is not ready from the IOTA side, is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to Ben Royce first. Ben, are you there? Welcome to IN
Hey,
Talks. How are you?
Good.
It must be exciting presenting your work that you have been working on for how long?
A couple of months now. We started in pretty much May, and we started doing serious development on the Secrets product in July, August.
It's been busy, but what's so impressive about decentralized social media? Isn't it trying to make cryptocurrency stuck to something?
Yeah, there's two issues here. Number one, why decentralize social media? It's currently in Facebook and Twitter and YouTube land, they own your data. It's in a silo and it's under their control, not your control. Decentralized social media, number one offering is you own your content and it exists under your control and only your control, and they can't take it away from you. And the other thing is that it's truly private. If you have a private discussion on Facebook now, well, Facebook's linking that discussion to your public presence and deriving all sorts of information from you that maybe you don't want to be out there. That's not true in decentralized social media. Only you control your private information. That's the larger decentralized social media topic, specifically
but
secrets.
I'm a nobody. Who cares?
It's a very good point. A big argument is if you have nothing to hide, what's the problem? Well, everyone has something to hide. Anyone who would truly say that, I ask them to live in a glass house or walk around naked on the sidewalk. Everyone has a private life, and everyone is entitled to a private life.
And is that being exposed by Facebook right now?
What they are doing is they are linking all sorts of private details of your life, all of your political beliefs, all your religious beliefs, all of your contacts, everywhere you've been, every little detail about your life, they know. And they currently are using it to drive advertising and things like that. But it's more of the exposure. It's more the fact that we can have everything that social media offers without that exposure.
I'd like that, because I have the eerie feeling that WhatsApp is listening to me. The other day I was talking about learning how to play piano, but I've never done that, and I've never considered it, and it's just random thought. And now I get offers for apps to try and play piano.
It's a little creepy, and what else can it lead to?
So yeah, that's why it's important. But how are you going to do this? Metcalfes Law states that the effect of a network is proportional to the square number of connected users of the system. So bigger networks are more useful. How are you ever going to overtake them? But even more importantly, with a decentralized network, isn't that always going to be small?
Good points. Number one, it's true. We're just starting out. They're well established. We have to offer something that they don't currently offer. At one time, there was MySpace and Friendster, so networks can come and go over a long span of time. If we are offering a carrot and a stick, the stick being they're afraid of what Facebook is doing with their private info, and the carrot being the cryptocurrency side of SOCIETY2, where there is ad revenue sharing and other financial instruments that you will benefit from personally, then we provide a compelling argument to leave the traditional social media world.
So it's a bit like getting moons on Reddit and selling them for real money, which I've been lucky enough to do.
You made a good amount though, so.
I think I was lucky for shilling on Reddit. Something else. You've been incorporated in the US. Isn't that the wrong place to sell privacy? And I'm not talking NSA, just US trade laws. They're vicious enough to make you shudder.
We had a big argument about this internally. We almost did what was thought like a mini GmbH in Germany. It was the other chance. And I think we're still going to do that as sort of a subsidiary. Society2 is probably going to focus on what they call DAC, Deutschland, Austria, Switzerland, Confederation Helvetica. That world is where IOTA has the most imprint and where we want to probably start with Society2, making as big as impact as we can. So yes, we're going to be focusing on Germany. The U.S. incorporation, really, it's just a matter of it's easy and a known quantity.
Okay. Moderation is an important subject. Is there a risk that secrets can be used by criminals and terrorist networks because it sounds perfect for them?
Well, beyond secrets is what we're demoing today is sort of like the chat app or the one-on-one or the group chat function in Facebook or Twitter or something like that. The larger concept of moderation with decentralized social media and Society2 is the fear of, what if somebody's going to post ISIS beheading videos? And we are a framework, which means we won't be moderating anything. If you set up a node, you will be using our framework, and you're responsible for the content that gets published on that node. There's nothing special about this that is any different from the current world, whereas if you put content out there that is, really horrible content, then law enforcement will go after you and should go after you. But then there's the other question of moderation of gray areas that it's illegal, say, in China to have Hong Kong protest videos. So you don't want your node to be running in Shanghai. You want it to be running in Taipei. And larger than that, the concept of sort of heavy-handed moderation that's angering a lot of people right now across the world on various issues is that something like Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, they apply a standard flat across all society, across millions of users. And you're going to piss someone off no matter what you do. If you have a world where you have a number of nodes focused on different topics, and each node is handling its own moderation, they can apply a standard which is appropriate to that community, and people will be more comfortable with that. There will still be sort of large arenas where people can meet up, and that will be different moderation standards. But again, it's this whole give and take between moderation and censorship. It's a very huge topic right now, and I think we really do have a solution to it with decentralized social media. Niches growing off of sort of various subject matter where people can meet up. Go ahead.
That's rather easy dodge of you have to cooperate. And for instance, I know you have an Australian team member, and Australia has a law called the Assistance and Access Law, which is next to batshit crazy, but it is there. How will you deal with your team member being forced to help the Australian government break into chats?
Yeah, that in the USA is the same thing. We had it even way back in the 90s. People might remember the whole Clipper chip fiasco. There's always a certain level of lawmaking that is just unaware of the technology and is out of touch and tries to make these draconian, give us a backdoor to encryption, or who needs encryption? Honestly, if these laws threaten our concept of Society2, they're not really just threatening us, they're threatening all of cryptocurrency and all of really internet commerce as it is. So the issue with that is that government is going to have to learn that you can't do these sort of things.
Okay.
And you know, specifically with us,
but on the
you know,
lower level,
if the node is
DRM
hosted in Australia, you don't want to, you know, then it applies to the Australian government.
I think I have a connection problem.
Yes, but I still hear you, and I still see you. Well, while Boss Dirk's on his connection, I'll talk a little bit more about moderation in general. We can hear you, but your connection is breaking up a little. I can hear you. I can see you and hear you now. Now it seemed to have come back.
Okay, good. Let's continue then. DRM enforcement, or GDPR.
Oh, we lost Boss. But anyway, I had a few more points I wanted to make about moderation until he comes back. What Society2 is offering with moderation is sort of an inversion of control. Currently, you know, you do something Facebook or Twitter doesn't like, or YouTube, and that's it. Your content's gone, and you're gone, and sorry, just live with it. You won't have to deal with that in a decentralized world. You will always own your content, and if your most important interactions in your life are on a node where moderation is good, you're going to have a great time. If moderation on that node changes over time, you can vote with your feet and go to another node where moderation might be of a better quality. And in this way, it's an inversion of power, because these nodes are always worried about keeping you as an audience. What's also driving this is that with the concept of ad revenue sharing, if they have 1 million users, they're getting revenue from that, and they want to maintain that. They have a job to do in order to do that. They have to they have to keep that audience, and they keep that audience with high quality moderation. And that's one of the big draws of this future with decentralized social media. There was a few other points I wanted to talk about. The content, it's a difference between the product secrets we're putting out now, which is sort of a chat app running on IOTA Tangle, but the larger concept that we are looking at with our product coming out later, the entire framework, is that your content is actually going on IPFS, and the Tangle is sort of like the trust negotiation layer. So some people have a problem. Well, how are you actually moderating decentralized social media? Isn't the blockchain about immutability? Well, it's the content is immutable, but the content isn't going in the blockchain. It's going in IPFS, and in that way, you don't have to worry about that. You know, content can't be removed. There's other scenarios where you would worry about content being removed. For example, in Europe, you have your GDPR. Say you have a right to be forgotten. And if you truly own your content and you say, look, you know what, I want all my content erased. How do you do that in decentralized social media? You can put out that directive and you can have all your content erased. But for those of you out there who know how something like IPFS works, content is still out there. You know what I mean? There's echoes of it out there. Doesn't that betray the GDPR? And what's interesting here is that we are on the cutting edge of tech with decentralized social media. We're also on the cutting edge of legality, not legality, the law about this situation. Is content that is hashed, encrypted, you can't see it, but it's not been removed yet, is that GDPR compliant? And we think the way this issue will kind of break out is that, I mean, why blockchain in the first place? It's sort of the same goals as GDPR, but while GDPR is top down, blockchain is bottom up. So it's one of those spirit of the laws versus letter of the law situation, and we're confident that GDPR and blockchain will kind of develop a happy relationship eventually. Where's some other the details I wanted to talk about? I want to talk about SSI. SSI is self-sovereign identity. Self-sovereign identity is the concept of how you're going to have a hub with all of your personal information. Now, IOTA has a number of products focusing on, like IOTA Self, IOTA Stronghold in order for you to manage your keys and manage details about your life. And it's a much better world, especially in regard to social media, because currently, let's say they ask for your driver's license. In traditional world, your detail goes to a server somewhere, and they have the information. It can be hacked. They have it for all time. In SSI, you can negotiate proof of who you are, and none of that is kept on the social media site. You could. We have Boss back.
Hey, Ben.
Hey. Welcome to the internet, right?
Lovely.
Well, let me just finish up one point. In fact, you can probably go on to the next question from it. If you have an SSI hub, keeping track of your identity, you can also have multiple identities. And now you're saying, well, why would you want to do that? Well, social media isn't about this is who I am and you know who I am. You can have a pseudonymous presence. You can have a number of different identities. In fact, that might be very important. So one social media scheme might be, say, a job board. A job board might insist you prove who you are before you interact on their platform. In that case, you want to be your real identity. But then you might also have a dating site built on the SOCIETY2 framework ecosystem. And that dating site, you don't really want to have all your personal details out there at first. You want to have a little discretion. So then you would have another pseudonymous identity for that service. And this is a way that in the better future of decentralized social media, you can negotiate all of these issues with privacy and data sharing without it being an abuse as it currently is with traditional social media.
Okay. Have you gone into why you're using IOTA?
No. Perfect.
Why?
Why IOTA?
Because
why IOTA
it's
indeed?
a public ledger.
Right.
I'm not going to be private on a public ledger.
Yes. Well, no, that's another good point. So 2 points there. Number one, why IOTA? There is no reason why we have to use IOTA at all. None whatsoever. We want to use IOTA for this fact that you have a native cryptocurrency ability. You have financial transactions built into the trust negotiation layer that opens up all sorts of possibilities. Ad revenue sharing is the most obvious. Tip jar is another obvious one. Subscription model. Spam prevention. Some sites might be every post you make has to have the value of half of a penny to prevent spam, or other scenarios like that. Maybe you have a scenario where you have DeFi applied to social media influencers. There is a universe of financial layer transactions interacting with social media here, which is somewhat mind-blowing. There's some other things we've thought of that I don't want to give too many secrets out right now, but to be honest, there's ideas out there that we haven't even thought of. And since SOCIETY2 is going to be an open framework, anyone can build on it, build their own apps and sites, and sharing the bounty. Now, the one other issue with IOTA, you mentioned pseudonymity. Secrets, I'll leave this to Marcus, but Secrets is genuinely anonymous. But currently in the envisionment we are having with the larger framework is that it will be as pseudonymous as any blockchain. So in other words, Bitcoin, people say it's private. That's not really true. They can say, oh, this guy, he bought something. So it will be the same framework where you are generally anonymous and private, but somebody could see if you mention, oh, I just bought a vacuum cleaner, and they see this address, just purchase a vacuum cleaner, they might link that to another thing you say. But again, as I was just talking before you came in, you can have many different identities, and that conception may change over time.
Okay.
I also covered the whole moderation thing.
Very
well,
good.
Oregon.
Very good. You've built the app, but how do you finance all this? Have you thought about that? Because there seems to be money in here, but not right now.
Yes, and now that we've built our engine, and this engine now is proof that we have something that we can build much larger, the larger framework. Now we can go out, and now after this demo, really our focus will be on money raising. A follow-up to what you're saying is, well, I guess we're going to mention the VC trap, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem of, let's say they give us a pile of money and they warp our purpose and all that. Number one, you can't really remove all the privacy promise of what we're doing without ruining the attractiveness as well. And let's say we got a big investment and they went further than that, and they watered down our purpose. What we're building here is open source. So if SOCIETY2 goes away because of whatever reason, the open source framework will remain, and anyone will be able to download a template and turnkey and make it happen, or customize it, or an IOTA developer, an IOTA community, or a developer from outside can say, I see your dating site, your job board. This is all wrong, and rebuild it from scratch while the framework provides the base functionality. This is going to live on no matter what we focus on.
Facebook is a bad example, but there are social media sites that have started with pure intentions, and that got messed up because of the finance component. How sure can you really be that SOCIETY2 and what it builds will not fall victim to that?
What our revenue model after while we're building the larger framework from Secrets as sort of our engine, is it's all going to be open source, and we're going to focus on the ad revenue as an ad brokerage, I guess, is what we're going to morph into, and other financial instruments that function on SOCIETY2. The SOCIETY2 framework itself is untouchable. It will be open source. The funding, the warping due to funding influence can be whatever. It could literally remove SOCIETY2 from existence. The open source framework will live on within the IOTA ecosystem.
So in a really old case, could Google and Facebook join SOCIETY2 and become your competitor?
There's two answers to that. Number one, well, actually, no, that's a very good point that we've been discussing internally. Currently, we want to be sort of grow into an ad brokerage and other financial instruments on the framework. And now the question is, are we going to be the only ones doing that? And that kind of gets to, you can bring in a third there, Apple, because Apple only allows one app store, while Google allows for a number of competing app stores. So I don't like that model where we're the only one. So we're probably going to evolve into that Google App Store model where where we, SOCIETY2 Inc., will be Google Play, the main app store, but there's absolutely nothing preventing anyone else from also building financial instruments as well.
So that's fitting with decentralization, but it would put huge pressure on you to develop a user-friendly ecosystem. Well, talking about users, I've had one question. I've reached out for people to ask questions, and I've got one question, and that was, of course, when. When can we test it? When can we see how good it works? Secrets.
This is an anonymous, permissionless, private app. You're going to be able to use this today. It's going to continue to be improved. There are still improvements coming. Boss, you yourself asked for GIFs. We got to have GIFs. There's a lot with audio, video. There's a number of things we can add. Make it easier to get on. And then that engine now, it's going to take some work to deliver a happy framework that's robust and people are like how it's functioning. And it's enough to get really started with some templates for various sites and apps. We are aiming toward the beginning of 2021. And to be honest with you, it really gets back to that funding question, because currently we're functioning on zero funding. We all have, Marcus has a job, Joseph has a job, Wynn and Sebastian have their jobs. I have a job as well on the side that, this part-time stuff is just not going to work out unless we get the funding. If we get the funding, I can say early 2021, maybe, there's always delays, but that's what we're aiming for.
Soon. That really sounds That really sounds good. I've had the chance to look at it beforehand, but we're going to have a presentation, a demonstration now with Marcus. Marcus, are you there?
I'm here.
Marcus,
Hi.
welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
You've built an engine.
That's what Ben likes to say, yes. Basically, I started in 2018 because I was interested in mask authenticated messaging. And I've put together a little, some kind of, how would you call it, some gateway, pretty much what Daniel and his team are doing now with their Streams gateway.
Daniel from IEN, Daniel de Michel.
Yes. Yes. And its sole purpose was sending encrypted messages to the Tangle and also receiving messages from the Tangle. So to have some sort of encrypted communication channels for devices, basically.
And that is currently working as a chat app, from what I understand.
I had to do a lot of. There were a lot of challenges I had to overcome to make this work in a web app, actually. But I think we accomplished these challenges. And I'm
Can we see
happy to present. Yes, sure. I think, yeah. Okay, so basically, I said it's a web app. So basically, you just have to go to our homepage. In this case, it's secrets.society2.com, and you get presented with what you see here.
I'm going to testing.secrets.society2.com.
Exactly. And the first thing I would recommend here is when you are using Chrome, you now have the ability to install this. So we made it a progressive web app to give it this feature. On iPhone, this works similarly. I guess you have to enter the site, and then you have to check the menu items, and somewhere there should appear Add to Home Screen. Cool. On Android mobile phones, you will get prompted by the app and to install to home screen. And on a desktop, it looks like the one I'm presenting here. When you click Install now, the browser window will be closed soon. And the app now runs in a standalone window. And you can, this is here GNOME on Debian. On Windows, you would now have a shortcut to the app on your desktop. And in Chrome, it's like this. You will find secrets then in the menu, and you can start it from the menu. So you basically don't need the browser anymore to access the app.
So I have it now on my home screen. It asks me to create an identity.
Yeah, sure. That's always the first step. If you don't have an identity yet, you can give it a name. You can give it a name, but this is private. You will never share this name.
Okay, so you can't see what I just typed.
No, it's just for you to keep track of. If you have multiple identities, it's better. Set a very strong password. Do not do it like I do now. And hit create.
Now I've got a longer password than that.
Yeah. Multiple.
What do I do now?
So basically, that's the screen you have now. Then you have some options we can talk about, which first starts with the network options here.
Okay.
And at first, we wanted to give you the possibility to choose to which IOTA nodes you issue your transactions. Of course, we added an endpoint for ourselves, which is tangle.society2.io. And with the support of the IOTA Foundation, we are allowed to use these two load balancers on the DevNet as well. Everything you see here operates on the DevNet right now, and this is why you can set up. I hope you can see my cursor. I've made it very large for the audience to see it. We have the ability here to set up the minimum weight magnitude. Which basically sets up the depth and the the complicatedness of the proof of work process. For DevNet, it is 9, and if you want to move to mainnet, you should set it to 14. You always have the opportunity here, or the possibility to remove the nodes we give. You don't have to use our node. You can use your own node. You can use your private tangle even. That's not a problem. You are free to choose whatever you like. And if
I can do that now.
Sorry?
I can do that now.
You can do that now, but don't leave our network. Don't leave the IOTA DevNet. Otherwise, we are not able to communicate.
I understand. But that sounds really advanced already.
Actually, we are using a software load balancer that I got introduced from Holger Köther from the IF. So we have the possibility to use multiple nodes which are on the same network. And if one request fails, it just moves over to the next node and tries again.
Okay, nice.
Next step here is the identity menu.
Yes,
where you have the ability to change the name, to set up a new password, and also to export your identity. Your identity is something like a save game in games, but a little bit more complicated because the way we designed it now, it contains also all the messages you sent and all the messages you received. And for the encryption mechanism that is used in mask authenticated messaging, it is crucial to always use the identity only from one device. If I would load this identity now into another browser on my mobile device or something, would send some messages, these two identities would get out of sync. And you basically have a risk of private key reuse, just as it is if you spend tokens twice from an address.
Okay, but that is limited to MUM, which is going to be phased out.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. This is this problem comes to life with the use of the Merkle tree signature scheme, where you have these one-time signatures.
Okay. Can we do the fun bit now?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to delete this identity because I prepared one before.
Like any good cooking show.
Now I'm going to import it. If you see this is pretty slow, my machine here, this is because this is running in a virtual machine actually.
Okay.
I cannot disclose my desktop.
I understand.
Okay. Now I've loaded my identity. Let's see if this works. Looks nice. There's also already a chat that I opened today with my colleague Vin. And he asked me if I'm excited for the presentation. And I said I'm thrilled, which is true. Just to tell the audience what's happening here, I could add you now to this chat, and then we would have a conversation. But for the purpose of showcasing the group chat feature, I asked Vin and you to exchange. I asked Vin to wait for your secret now. We will do this together. I will lead you through the process, and then Vin will add you to our chat. And in this way, I can showcase how the group mechanics are working.
Cool. What do I do next?
What you are going to do is to create a new chat.
Okay. I am in the app. I'm creating a new chat.
Yeah, give it a name.
I'm going to give it a name.
This is also not shared. This is just for your record.
Okay. I'm keeping my phone away from the camera. I'm in my chat. Now what do I do?
Let's wait for mine, and I can show you what needs to be done. It's really slow. Okay. When you now click here on the Edit Chat Settings menu.
Okay, on the cogwheel. Yes.
Yeah.
I have a secret there.
You have a secret, and this secret is how do we put it? It's unique for this chat. You will have a secret for every chat you open. Now I want you to click copy secret.
I've
And
done
as you
that.
can see, this is simply an 81 tries address on the IOTA network. And I want you to share this with Win now.
I've shared it with Win.
Okay. Then I would ask Win to add this secret to the chat. I hope he can hear us, but I think so.
Or you could send them a message.
Let's see what happens. If it's there already. Nope. That's another thing I could describe in the meantime, actually. We have, as you know, this is a decentralized technology, so there is no central instance that could inform you about incoming messages. So what we are doing here is we have a built-in refresh interval that you can set free of your choice. And in this interval, the app fetches data from the Tangle then. And looks if there's something interesting for you. Aha, there you can see what happened. Win is introducing Buzz, and now I am asked if I trust Buzz.
Of course you do.
What does this mean? At the moment, I'm encrypting all messages that I'm sending only for Win, right? And when I click trust here, this will lead to the situation that your public keys will be added to my store, and I will subsequently encrypt all the messages for the both of you, so for Win and for you. Okay. If you look on your phone now, Win should have sent you his secret.
I'm copying the secret.
Yeah. Then go into the chat, and there's this menu here, which is Manage Participants.
Yeah.
As you can see, I already have the both of you. And now you, give it a name. Give Win a name, because you know it's Win, just type Win. And paste the secret in the line below.
It says it's synchronizing with the Tangle. And now I see you. So I'm going to say hi. And what would be a unique word?
Would you not have to trust me?
Oh, yeah. Trust is contact.
Of course. So both parties that are not informed about the new guys in the chat, so to speak, will be asked to trust everyone that is introduced. This is the mechanics here. So you will never be in a situation where the system automatically forces you to encrypt messages for anyone. This is always at least the bilateral agreement. Okay, now we can exchange some messages, actually.
I'm typing messages, but they're not showing up.
Where?
I just said hi, and I'm in the chat.
Yeah, maybe it's the refresh interval. Maybe I didn't just fetch it. So I've sent a message now.
Maybe Win has to send me another secret.
No.
Or can you see my messages?
You are right, I don't. I don't know why. But you accepted this trust negotiation request, right?
Yes.
I see Win's message at least. This is kind of weird. Can you check your participant management?
I will.
Thing here and tell me which participants do you see?
I see Win with a question mark, and I see myself with a question mark.
Okay. Yourself.
Yes.
Okay, that's bad. I need to debug it.
There might be a problem with the
There was something wrong in the process. I feel whether you or Win had entered the wrong secret.
Yes,
okay,
I'm afraid I got the wrong key.
Essentially, what we were trying to do is that we can chat, and okay, I can chat with Win at least. The negotiation was wrong, unfortunately.
Can you reload?
Sure.
So, is this our Tesla moment?
Yeah, this is our Windows blue screen moment. We had this tested yesterday for like 250 times. Okay, anyways, I think it's clear what should have been the outcome. I'm sorry it didn't work, and
I feel sorry for you.
We'll manage to have this going.
Yes, because this is a rather new feature. I've tested the app 2 weeks ago, and this wasn't in there. So
yeah, 2 days old actually. Yes.
Wow. How much time did it take you to make this?
Good question. Yeah, from the point where the MAM gateway was finished, it was like 2 weeks full time or something, because the MAM stuff is the most important in the background.
Mm-hmm. But you, yeah,
go ahead.
So 2 weeks to make this full time next to your regular job.
Yes.
And then it's going to be
full-time consulting.
And then it's going to be binned because Chrysalis 2 is coming and MAM is going to be replaced by Streams. Isn't that?
Yeah, probably.
Are you going to start from scratch again?
Not really, no. I don't think so. We're just waiting for the new client libraries actually at the moment. Mm-hmm. And I think I can still use MAM with the post-Chrysalis network.
Okay,
at the moment, MAM is producing bundles, and bundles mm-hmm. will also not be there in the post-Chrysalis network, but I still can extract all the information from the bundles and put them into one atomic transaction. So I don't think this is huge of a problem.
So we will be able to use this as a chat app in the IOTA community for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
Wow. How anonymous is it? Isn't it just using streams?
Yes, of course. It is basically it's using streams and putting transactions to the IOTA tangle. But I don't think it's possible to figure out who actually issued the transactions. For the reason that you can set up your own node and use secrets with your own node and your own infrastructure, or even your private tangle, I don't think it's possible to figure out who sent which transaction.
So I don't have to go to the SOCIETY2 website to actually use this. I can set this up all by myself from now on, and the only thing I need is the tangle.
Basically, yes.
It might have.
I have not yet published the code. Mm-hmm. I will be releasing the website just after our interview today, so people can start using the app. And I will tidy some things up, do some maintenance on the code that it looks nice, and remove all the comments we've made over the last few months. And then I will publish all the code that is necessary to have your own secrets app to GitLab, as we always do. Yes.
So it's going to be
fully open source. Yes, GPL version 3 is what we have chosen there. And there will be another entry point for our users, because I want to publish the app on IPFS as well, so that you can access the app via public IPFS gateways or your own gateway if you wish so. You don't even have to use our infrastructure at all.
Wow. Okay.
This is what we understand when someone says decentralized solution.
That sounds pretty much spot on. There will probably be people who will always find a problem with that, but we'll always have those. We're going to look at the comments in the YouTube chat and see if there's any questions. Maybe Ben can join us. Hey, Ben, good to have you back.
Good to see you guys.
So I'm scrolling through the comments and I'm looking for question marks. And there were a lot of people there early. Thank you, Mark Schmidt. I'm not a nobody.
Hey, Mark.
I'm looking for question. Bill TFCMRK. WhatsApp is using Open Whisper Systems encryption, between brackets, Signal. It is not leaking any message content to Facebook, which is currently being discussed in the CTX of forwarding messages. So it's not a question. It was a remark. Thank you, Bill.
Well, they talk about WhatsApp being encrypted, but people have noted, what is it, hackernoon.com, that I think they went into how Facebook can still look at WhatsApp content. Interesting stuff.
Dennis Schouten has a question. How do you deal with the ad revenue data? Most are targeted by an AI to accommodate the user.
Great question. The way it's going to work is we are going to have various algorithms functioning on the network, just like there are algorithms currently functioning on Facebook and Twitter. However, if you watch The Social Dilemma, these algorithms exist to do only one thing: keep you engaged, keep you sucked in, keep feeding you ad content. That is the only purpose. We are also going to have algorithms to serve you content because, well, you want content that fits something you want to look at. The difference is the algorithms will be chosen by you. Here's a good algorithm: chronological order only, right? Or with ad revenue, I've specifically told you these demographics of my existence for you to feed to me ads that match that demographic, always under your granular control and always revocable at any time. So this will still exist. However, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, they're not in control of that anymore. You are, explicitly.
Okay, so you're making it into a business model based on game theory and assuming that people do not want this.
Well, you could choose to have no ads at all, right? And you could just have an algorithm for how you want to see input. You want it chronological only, or you want it chronological but emphasize content from this node, that kind of scenario. And when it comes to serving you ads, if you want to opt in and earn some ad revenue sharing, you will also, again, be in explicit control of what demographics are shared and therefore what ads you would get.
Okay. Next question from Bill again. Why would a user care whether the tech behind a social network is cutting edge or not, if it can't solve problems they are facing in particular the right to be forgotten? So it's about the perception of the people not having a problem.
Okay, well, why would anyone, right, it's cutting edge is no meaning, right? We have to offer something compelling to people. Cutting edge tech is not compelling, right? That doesn't mean anything. And in fact, even just privacy is not compelling enough for most people, right? And if he mentions in particular the right to be forgotten, right? Europe can come in and say GDPR, they have a right to be forgotten, and Facebook can implement that. So what's the problem? The problem is all the other privacy intrusions they're doing. we're going to have also the ability to write to be forgotten, except it might exist as echoes on IPFS in a hashed format, but that's another issue. And all the other compelling reasons that are out there where they're not mining your personal life and keeping it in silos outside your control, as well as the carrot of ad revenue sharing and other interesting financial social media interplays that current social media they don't offer, and it will probably only exist to enrich them, not you.
Okay.
Hey, Buzz, can I interrupt you for a second?
Of course.
Did you send your message prior to trusting my contact?
I don't think so.
It felt like that's the case. Because prior to accepting my contact, I will not be able to read anything. Of course. Maybe you can just send another message. I will give it
our Elon Musk Tesla Cybertruck moment.
Yeah, maybe the window fixes itself. We'll see.
But it works. They saw the interplay between you and Win, so that's good.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, but I don't. I'll send another hi, but do you see it?
Let me check. Super slow.
While you check, we're going to the next question from R2D2.
I don't. I think I lost.
Nice for him to join us. How does zero knowledge proof factor into Society2 architecture? I think that might be a question for Marcus.
I think I don't get what the question is, actually. I'm sorry.
Zero knowledge proofs, do you use them?
So I think I don't understand the concept of zero knowledge proofs, and I think the answer is no, because we still have to exchange our secrets.
Yeah, you have to exchange secrets. So there has to be some other channel. You saw the QR code scan, right? And you saw you have to exchange a secret off channel some way to establish the connection. So that's sort of the baseline, though, of cryptography with our system to make it work. I would add on that, though, that IOTA is offering products like Stronghold and Self. Key management is going to be it has to be a lot easier than how traditional social media works with username and password or OAuth 2. We have to offer a solution, probably with IOTA Stronghold, in which key management will be a lot easier than the current world, and then better experience.
Yeah, better than we have today. Sorry to say.
I figured it out, actually. I figured it out. Win is using an older version on his phone.
So we need version management.
We can do another mini demo, if you want.
I think the outcome is clear. So I should have seen it.
R2D2 has a question, another question. It sounds like the BraveAd brokerage model with BAT, but in open source. Yes, no?
Yes, but more. Yes, but more. So BraveAd brokerage model, yes, it's great, and we're expanding on that, though, to be sort of a native experience with your social media. So BraveAd works over the current web models, internet models. We're starting something completely different, where decentralized and these financial instruments. Since we're using IOTA natively, ad revenue sharing is one of the examples I bring to the fore, because, like you mentioned, everyone is familiar with BraveAd and how successful and how good it works. But since we're using cryptocurrency natively on how the product functions, there's a whole new world of things well beyond the BraveAd brokerage model. So
that's a simple first step, and we're going to go beyond that with Society2. A pro tip from the IOTA eVentures network: always throw the iron ball to the windshield before hammering the door. I think that was a funny remark, but it does hurt that it doesn't work. Alex Meyer has a question. Is it a problem if a bad guy gets my secret? So it is to understand as a phone number.
I'll let
No,
Marcus answer.
It's not. As I said, it's specific to a single chat. And it's a public key that your partner needs to know where to find the messages. There is a risk of having your secret leaked, which is inherent to every communication system on the IOTA, I think, because everyone can issue transactions to every address. Our system would query the address if you are trying to get all the transactions and get all your messages from the addresses, and an attacker would have the opportunity to spam this address and to make communication even impossible. Yes, so we still call it a secret, and secrets should be shared only with people you trust.
Okay, and could a filter solve that?
It's hard. So transactions are transactions, and we cannot really forecast or something how a message from somebody will look like in the encrypted way. You can always set tags or whatever. You can control your timestamp, the timestamp that the transactions on the Tangle have, but an attacker could do this as well. So I don't think this can be mitigated.
Mr. Tree asks, what will you do if Mark doesn't fund you?
We will look for more opportunities.
Mark is the manager of the
I know.
Ecosystem Development Fund, for people who are unaware of that.
We have not tried to get funding from the IOTA Foundation and the EDF fund yet. We will probably try. It's a good fit, right? Our corporate, they don't fund corporations, they only fund development teams for open source projects, which is exactly what we're doing. So we're not going to get any funding from the EDF or any sort of corporate development, but funding for our developers, for Marcus, to develop the next framework, which will be open source and any IOTA community member or other developer can fund on, is perfectly compatible with EDF goals. So we'll definitely try to get funding from them, as well as all sorts of outside sources. We have to convince the IOTA Foundation that we will have moderation, so they won't have to worry about news headlines like IOTA funds ISIS beheading videos or some sort of nonsense, and it's other concerns, and we'll see what happens.
Basically, you've been working on getting it to function, and now you're going to see how you are going to develop into something that will work in the long term.
Yes.
Okay. Michael Gard.
Also, maybe in addition, what we are doing here is not only building a social network or something. This is based on multiple technologies from myriad of tools and whatever. And we are definitely trying to use the IOTA identity solution from some point when it gets possible. And the work on an identity solution might also be a topic for an EDF application. So,
Okay. So you have multiple approaches.
Yes, it's complicated and
that could contribute to the bigger ecosystem and not just social media.
Yeah,
correct.
Okay,
definitely.
Michael Gard asks a question.
Michael.
When you say app, can we download it for a PC, iPhone, and Android? Marcus already went into that. Could you repeat it?
Yeah, sure. It is a progressive web app, so there's no need for you to download anything. Just go to secrets.society2.com and you get the opportunity to install the progressive web app from your browser. I didn't test this with a lot of browsers, but it works for Safari and for Chrome on mobile and on desktop devices.
We may wind up building an app anyway, just because people are comfortable with the entire app experience, in which case whatever would be downloaded would probably just be a browser view, you know, just so that people can, and maybe there are some capabilities with apps that we might want to leverage. We're not sure yet. Again, one of our two selling points are, you know, cryptocurrency and privacy. You really don't want to involve apps if you're talking about something that's entirely private. And if it just lives temporarily on the web, it's a lot more private. Still, again, it's a matter of some people just don't care and they just want to download an app. So there's no reason why we can't have an app to download eventually.
There's one reason we didn't go for this yet, because we are 2 developers and we need one single code base.
Another good reason.
Yeah, very practical.
A question from Bill again. From a high-level perspective, ignoring the decentralized aspect, what common crypto messaging properties does secrets give the user? For instance, forward or future secrecy, deniability, non-repudiation.
It is perfectly forward secret. So if you are adding someone to a chat that has some messages, the new participant cannot read these messages. What have we? Secrecy, I guess. I don't know what he means, but yeah, messages are meant to be private in secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Deniability is something that is related to the ledger state, I think. So non-repudiation. Never heard of that. I'm sorry. Can someone Eli 9 this for me? Non-repudiation.
It has to do with, did I send that message? No, I can deny that I sent that message or not. You know, I didn't send that message. In that regard, you know, these are keys exchanging messages. You know, how do you prove ownership of a key? I think that's the issue. Rather abstract concepts.
Okay.
That really don't have anything to do with the product or anything like that, but it's all good.
Okay.
Good. I think we're out of questions. I do see, however, that Christian F. Germany tested in parallel, and it works perfect for him. Well done.
Thank you.
So the users are
I guess
better than
the windows are also fine in real life.
We probably did something really simple wrong.
I already figured it out. Win had installed the PWA on his iPhone, an older version, and the service worker we are using is updating itself since like 3 or 5 commits, and this led to the introduction that was sent to me for you is playing wrong.
So Society2 needs a bigger team to take care of these simple things to make the user experience better.
Yes.
So we're out of questions. We're over time, so I think we'll end it here. Is there anything you still want to add?
Watch our progress. Go to society2.com. Join our newsletter. We'll keep you informed. If you download the product and use it, please give us feedback. Any kind of feedback, criticisms, this doesn't work, I don't like this, bugs, great ideas you have. And we got a big, bright future ahead of us and hope to have you along.
Oh, I must have missed one question from the biotosphere. I'm going to look that up about scale. So if there were 100 participants in this chat and one new person were added, would they have to negotiate trust with each of the 100 existing members? How does this scale for large groups? Marcus.
Yeah, this is a very good question. We didn't come to a point to test where this goes down. I believe that, and the answer is yes, the new participant becomes or gets 100 contact requests. We solved this a bit differently as we shown in the UI, since it was only one request in our example. But then you will be presented with a list that contains all the 99 participants, and you have the ability, or you have the chance to click yes, I trust all, or you can go through the list and just trust selective ones. So the answer is yes, you have to trust all the 99 people then. I don't see a way where this can be done differently without compromising the security. And for the second question, I don't really know when this goes out of scale. I hope someone can test this.
So we're
Well,
going to have a community
theoretically,
we don't have the chance to get 100 devices to check.
I remember an internal discussion, Marcus, you were saying that this problem of adding more users went from O of N to O of 1. So it's a lot quicker. Am I correct? Am I recalling correctly? You just made a But you're right. Could it scale to 1,000, 10,000? Theoretically, there's no reason why it couldn't, correct? It's just a matter of limitations of the network and the hardware.
Yeah. It's a limitation in the network, actually, because this introduction message gets larger and larger for the more participants you add. And I believe there's an upper limit for proof of work requests to the nodes. But this is configurable, I think. And so it depends on which node you are using. And
nice. So we're going to test that with the community soon.
Yeah, sure. Secrets.society2.com. I just opened it.
Francesco Moro asked a question. When you log out, what is the procedure for logging on again?
Well, before Marcus answers, I just want to add something. This is a new world. There is no more logging in or logging out. That's an old model of thinking about things. Logging in and logging out is with a central server. There is no central server here. But go ahead, Marcus.
Okay.
True. There's also no logout process. If you just close the window now and reopen it, you are asked for your password. And this does nothing but decrypt everything that has been saved in your browser.
It's all local.
Logging out would mean something like export your identity, save it somewhere, and then come with another browser on another device and load this identity, import this identity. Yeah, I think this is the answer.
So
it's a brave new world, and one of the reasons why Zoom took off compared to other video conferencing software is there is no login and logout. It's very easy for users. So the key exchange is a complexity point, but without any more logging in or logging out or any of that, if we nail the key exchange to something being very simple, this is going to be the easiest thing in the world for people, eventually.
The problem is simply we have to exchange these secrets now, because there is no centralized actor that can tell me, here is Bas's telephone number. Please give me his public key, or however this works. So at the moment, this is the only way we can do this.
So we'd have to meet to keep it a real secret. But other than that, we can find ways to obfuscate it enough to make it secret enough.
And I've seen some chat on the IOTA Foundation about some of the neat sort of key exchange, key management concepts they're coming up with to make it really simple, so grandma can use it.
Great. So let's wrap it up then. Short of a small mistake that we had with setting me up in a group chat, it seems that we're entering a new paradigm. There's no more central server that can be broken or compromised. It will just be the Tangle and an open source framework that anybody can check and work on and extend. And we are going to communicate differently thanks to the work of Society2.
And thank you, Bas, for hosting.
You're welcome. everybody to go to testing.secrets.society2.
You can leave out the testing now. This is internal. Just secrets.society2.com now.
I was in a small.
We switched it on you overnight. We switched it on you overnight.
Test it. Give feedback in all the channels that you can find the people from Society2 on the internet, and let's see where this goes. Thank you for joining IEN Talks. My apologies for the bad bit of a miss presentation, but I'm really happy with what we've learned today, and we hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.